Assistant Secretary, thank you for taking the time to talk to Arabiya English. I want to start off with the Lebanon-Israel ceasefire proposal that the President and the State Department announced last night. Why now? What makes you guys think that either side will accept this? And then this morning we woke up to news from at least the Israeli side, the Israeli foreign minister saying there's no ceasefire. Prime Minister of Israel saying he's ordered the Israeli military to push ahead. And we've got Ben-Gvir, who's a cabinet member, who's vehemently opposed and said that he would reject and then resign from the cabinet.
So look, there is a critical urgency to getting a ceasefire right now. That is the nature of the call last night, that it was the president's judgment, the secretary's judgment, and as you saw, the judgment of the leaders of a whole set of partners from the region, from Europe, elsewhere, that this had to stop, that there's such a danger to the escalatory cycle that's ongoing, that the urgency is to get a ceasefire, give some space for diplomacy. We do not have a set answer, as it were. We don't have a formal answer from either party as yet.
Do the public statements from the Israeli officials today sway you guys one way or the other in terms of optimism or?
No, I'm not going to characterize this in terms of optimism or pessimism. It's a question of urgency to bring the fighting to a halt. There are civilians at risk. There are communities on either side of the border who've been absent from their homes, from their neighborhoods, from their villages for over a year. So that is the nature of what we're trying to do, is to bring a period of 3 weeks to start with, calm, to do some diplomatic work, and we'll wait to see how the two sides respond. But we are in constant contact at the leadership level with senior officials in the Israeli government, and we have channels open, of course, to Hezbollah.
On that front, is there any plan for during the 21 days of a ceasefire? There was talk about the need and the want from the U.S. to get citizens on both sides of the border back to their homes. On the Lebanese side, most of the land and homes and businesses have been destroyed. Are there any plans to help reconstruct and to allow people to get back?
Well, that's a set of issues which will come in time, but the most immediate issue is to get the guns to fall silent so that we can get diplomacy underway.
If I may, on Gaza, it was mentioned in the ceasefire proposal last night, which would also allow some time to galvanize, as one senior official said last night, efforts on that front. What's the latest on the Gaza ceasefire talks? Are you guys now linking them to what happens or does not happen along the blue line?
Look, Hezbollah has done the linkage, but we have a commitment from the president of the highest order to drive to an end of this war in Gaza. And the first stage is getting to that phase 1 of the ceasefire. That has been a very arduous task over these last weeks, but it is an ongoing piece that we are working on. On the other side, with the conflict between Israel and Hezbollah, that is of a volatility and of a dangerousness that drives us to the statement last night and the call last night, joined by other partners, to bring that to a halt right now. Hezbollah linked the two by getting into the fray on October 8th, but we think it is extraordinarily unjust, unfair to the communities on both sides of the border. And so we want to bring that to a halt and get the diplomacy underway.
Can I shift to Yemen for a second? Sure. We've seen almost a year now of the U.S. led efforts to come in and deter the Houthis and to keep the Red Sea shipping lanes open. U.S. military officials have said that more political will is needed to do more to stop the Houthis. What's your take? What more can be done, or what more can the U.S. do to actually put that to an end?
Well, part of it is a question for the Houthi themselves and a question for Iran. What can Iran do? Iran has enabled the Houthi to acquire the capabilities, the means to attack shipping in a widening circle, not just through the Bab el-Mandeb, but in the Red Sea and in the Gulf of Aden at will. Iran has continued to foster that effort. So in the first instance, the political will has to come from Tehran. The political will also has to come from the Houthi, who wrap themselves in the notion that they are fighting on behalf of the Palestinians. But in fact, they are increasing great threats in terms of food insecurity to the people of Yemen, to the people on either side of the Red Sea, Horn of Africa, and they are terrorizing commercial shippers. So we will continue to work this. We're not just working it on the military side, although that's an important tool. We're also working it in tandem with partners on the political and diplomatic side.
Come back to Washington a bit. Can you talk a little bit about the meetings this week with the UAE president and other officials? What came out of that? What more can you tell us other than the statements?
Well, yes, the statement that the White House put out was long and full of the detail and the texture of the discussions. But I will just say that this was a terrific opportunity for the president, the secretary, the vice president, and other senior officials to engage with Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. He had not been to Washington in 7 years. It was long overdue. That was felt on both sides, and it was a moment for a series of things to be done to chart the way in the next period of our relationship, a relationship that had, as he said, been for so long defined largely in defense and security and CT terms, but which we really want to widen, to expand to economic technology, AI being a central piece of this, but a whole host of other sectors. But it was really an important moment for President Biden and President Mohammed really to see each other, to sort of give that personal commitment to the way forward. So I was in the Oval Office meeting. I was in the meeting with that the secretary had with Sheikh Mohammed. And all I can say was an extraordinarily warm atmosphere.
Last one, just I wanted to ask about Iraq. We had U.S. officials last week say we should expect something potentially by the end of this week. Can we expect a joint statement as soon as tomorrow? And what's the latest on the agreements or the talks for an agreement? So
the government of Iraq and the U.S. have been in discussions for some months now, as have other members of the coalition, the de-ISIS coalition, about the transition from what has been a multilateral coalition set up 10 years ago to fight ISIS, and which fought it successfully, as we all know. But this is a transition moment to think about how that coalition moves into bilateral channels. So I'm not going to preview exactly when that statement will drop, but it will be coming soon.